And now, the sound of Nina Simone.
Alabama's got me so upset. Tennessee made me lose my rest. And everybody knows about Mississippi. Goddamn! Can't you see it? Can't you feel it? It's all in the
Nina
air.
Simone singing Mississippi Goddamn. There are two shows on at the Edinburg Fringe about the American singer, songwriter, pianist and civil rights activist who died in 2003. It coincides with the release this summer of a revelatory, warts and all documentary about Nina Simone on Netflix. I'm now joined in our temporary Edinburgh studio by two performers who are playing Nina Simone on stage here at the moment. Ruth Rogers-Wright has a show called Black Diva Power, which focuses on Simone's political awakening during the civil rights movement. Apphia Campbell's show is called Black is the Colour of My Voice, and it is set in a hotel room in Paris where Nina Simone secluded herself away for 3 days after the death of her father. Apphia, why did you want to write about that particular period and Simone's relationship with her father?
Nina Simone and her father were really, really close from a young age, and they had a really special relationship. And then they had an argument, and she didn't reconcile with her father after 14 months, and he died, and she felt really hurt about that. So she met this witch doctor who told her to go to this room, seclude herself, and she did. And she said after the 3 days, she felt vindicated because she saw her father. So I thought, this is a time when someone would reflect on their life and look back, and I thought it was a good medium to kind of tell the story of who she was and also focus on the fragile part of who she was as a woman.
Because, I mean, he encouraged her, didn't he, in her initial ambition to become a concert pianist, which she was unable to do due to racism stopping her from getting into an academy. But he also came from that generation of African Americans who didn't want to cause a fuss.
Yes, yes. But he was very much encouraging her to, like, pursue her art in any way, as opposed to, like, her mother, who was like, no, you're going to be a concert pianist and don't play any of the devil's music. But her father was just really into music because he was a musician as well. That's how he and his wife met, actually. They both played the blues at the beginning, so he still had an appreciation for that.
You use this, obviously, as a framing device, the 3 days in Paris. But how did you decide on which key moments or key memories of Nina's to include?
I started focusing on how we remember things, and I wanted to use, like, sensory triggers. So that's why I have, like, the sound and the music and also the smell, like, to kind of trigger these memories for her, because I would imagine being trapped away for 3 days and you have these keepsakes that these things would bring back these memories. And I wanted to put it in a way, of course, that's entertaining for the audience.
Ruth, your show focuses entirely on Nina Simone's politicisation during the civil rights movement, somewhat fictionalised in this play. Tell us what happens.
Well, basically, Nina Simone becomes friends with Lorraine Hansberry, who was a political activist and an award-winning playwright.
The famous playwright of A Raisin in the Sun.
A Raisin in the Sun, that's right. And she also wrote a Broadway thing, I believe, called Young, Gifted and Black. And Nina Simone finished this off as a song. And, you know, the thing is Lorraine Hansberry, I think, really encouraged Nina to use her voice in music. So that's what the play is about. Really,
yes, because I mean, what emerges from the play is that her music changes as she becomes politicised. So she goes from singing popular love songs such as, you know, My Baby Just Cares for Me, to Mississippi Goddamn, which we heard then, which is full of anger. It was almost like as though she'd found a purpose, wasn't it?
Yes, that's right. I mean, look, I think she was also felt that she was given a deathbed promise, because Lorraine Hansberry died at the age of 35 years old. In the early 60s, and every time I saw Nina Simone, she always included a song like For Women, which is about the different types of black women that there are, and Mississippi Goddamn, of course.
Now, you perform Nina Simone songs regularly. Do you feel, as a singer, something in common to her? Did you relate to her as a person?
Well, yeah, like, I'm a songwriter, and I think I'm eclectic, and I don't like to be pigeonholed. And one of the things about Nina Simone is that she seems to go across all genres of music, like gospel, folk, a bit of classical. She's just magical and herself. And it's like, if it's good, play it.
How did you both, and let me put this to you, Apphia, first, approach taking on such an iconic voice? I mean, is it an imitation, impersonation? I mean, because that must be quite daunting.
Well, I didn't focus on trying to recreate her voice, so I used my own voice in the show because the whole point of writing the show was to talk about her as a woman, and I felt that if you try and imitate this voice that's so distinctive, people are going to be focusing on that as opposed to focusing on what is important, which was the story about her.
Myself, I like to channel Nina Simone's energy. I believe in ghosts and spirits. So basically, every time I perform a show, I always say, look, Nina, anything that you want to say, anything you want to show people, here is a body. Let us share it. And, to me, she's a great inspiration. Don't let me let you down.
Apphia, I was struck by how many young people were in the audience of your play. Why do you think Nina Simone continues to be so popular?
I think because she's a bit of a rebel, and people, I think young people identify that and they admire that about her. And so, and her music, I think it just transcends like age and race, and people can really connect to the emotion that she puts out in her music.
And I mean, you're American. Does it resonate in the United States at the moment with everything that's happening there?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even more so now, like looking at what's happening in America and thinking about like how relevant you can take those songs, just drop them into any songs right now instead of like Mississippi goddamn, you could say Texas goddamn, Missouri goddamn, and they would still be just as relevant because it's quite sad that it feels like we are going back a bit in the States.
Apphia Campbell and Ruth Rogers-Wright. Both shows are in Edinburgh until the end of August. Details on our website. Tomorrow on Frontrow, we review a new artwork by Banksy. You can join Samira at 7:15.